Marlene Dietrich, famed for her sultry allure and magnetic sex appeal, reigned as a prominent leading lady throughout the 1930s and 1940s. When you think of classic Hollywood, names like Marilyn Monroe and Audrey Hepburn might come to mind. But long before these stars graced the silver screen, there was a woman who dared to push boundaries, defy conventions, and rewrite the rules of what it meant to be a woman in showbiz. That woman was Marlene Dietrich. Marlene Dietrich was born Marie Magdalene Dietrich on December 27, 1901, in the Prussian city of Schönberg, now part of Berlin, Germany. In her younger years, her family affectionately called her Lena. Marlene's father, Louis Dietrich, was a police lieutenant, and her mother, Wilhelmina, came from a wealthy Berlin family. Despite her conventional upbringing, Marlene was always a rebel at heart. She grew fascinated by the arts, particularly music and acting. From an early age, she dreamed of something far greater than the rigid world she was raised in. When Marlene Dietrich was a young child, her father, Louis Otto Dietrich, a former military officer turned imperial police lieutenant, passed away, leaving her mother a widow with 2 small children. A few years later, her mother remarried, this time to her late husband's best friend, Eduard von Losch, who was later killed in World War I. Marlene Dietrich grew up in a middle-class family in Germany. Before starting school, she and her older sister Liesel were homeschooled, where they learned French, English, ballet, violin, and piano. Both sisters later attended the Augusta Victoria School for Girls, while continuing their private music and language lessons. Dietrich also developed a skill for playing the mandolin. Her passion for music initially led her to aspire to become a violinist. However, a wrist injury during her teenage years forced her to abandon that dream. Instead, she shifted her focus to the stage. In 1921, Marlene Dietrich enrolled in Max Reinhardt's Deutsche Theaterschule, and later became part of Reinhardt's theater company. In 1923, she caught the eye of Rudolf Sieber, a casting director at UFA Film Studios, who began casting her in small film roles. The following year, Dietrich and Sieber married, and after the birth of their daughter, Maria, she resumed her work on stage and in films. Although they remained married for decades, the couple separated in 1929. Marlene Dietrich's career in Germany began to soar in the late 1920s. She made film history when she was cast in Germany's first talking film, Der Blaue Engel, 1930, directed by Hollywood's Josef von Sternberg. An English version, The Blue Angel, was also produced with the same cast. With her sultry beauty and elegant demeanor, Dietrich was perfectly suited for the role of Lola Lola, a nightclub singer. The film portrays the downfall of a local professor who sacrifices everything for a relationship with her character. The movie was a major success and helped establish Dietrich as a star in the United States. Dietrich's partnership with Josef von Sternberg continued in Hollywood, and together they made a series of successful films that cemented her as one of the leading stars of the time. Some of their most notable collaborations included Morocco, 1930, Dishonored, 1931, and Shanghai Express, 1932. In Morocco, Dietrich once again stunned audiences by performing in a tuxedo and even planting a kiss on another woman, an act that was as bold as it was controversial in the conservative era. In The Scarlet Empress, 1934, Marlene Dietrich took on the role of Catherine the Great, the legendary Russian empress. Her final collaboration with director Josef von Sternberg came with The Devil is a Woman, 1935, which was reportedly her personal favorite. In this film, often considered her most iconic portrayal of a vamp, Dietrich played a cold-hearted seductress who enthralls multiple men against the backdrop of the Spanish Revolution. Dietrich later softened her image by embracing lighter roles. She starred alongside Jimmy Stewart as a saloon girl in the Western comedy Destry Rides Again, 1939. Around the same period, she teamed up with John Wayne for several films, including Seven Sinners, 1940, The Spoilers, 1942, and Pittsburgh, 1942. It was rumored that Dietrich and Wayne had a romantic relationship, which eventually evolved into a close friendship. During the Third Reich, Marlene Dietrich refused Adolf Hitler's offers to work in Germany, leading to her films being banned there. A vocal critic of Nazism, she famously called Hitler an idiot and was branded a traitor in Germany. When she visited Berlin in 1960, she faced hostility from Nazi supporters, though the city later issued a formal apology in 2001 on her 100th birthday. Having become a U.S. citizen in 1937, Dietrich made over 500 appearances for Allied troops during World War II. Despite her love for America, she once said, "In my heart, I am German, German in my soul." After the war, Marlene Dietrich continued to make successful films, including 2 notable collaborations with director Billy Wilder, A Foreign Affair, 1948, and Witness for the Prosecution, 1957, where she starred alongside Tyrone Power. She also delivered standout supporting performances in Orson Welles' Touch of Evil, 1958, and Judgment at Nuremberg, 1961. As her film career waned, Dietrich found new success as a singer in the mid-1950s, performing around the world from Las Vegas to Paris to the delight of her fans. In 1960, she returned to Germany for the first time since the war, facing some opposition but receiving an overall warm reception. That same year, her autobiography, Dietrich's ABC, was published. Marlene Dietrich was known for her love life as much as her career. She had numerous affairs with both men and women, including notable relationships with stars like Jean Gabin, John Gilbert, and even rumored romances with Greta Garbo and Ernest Hemingway. Her daughter, Maria Riva, would later write a biography detailing Dietrich's complex and often tumultuous personal life. Dietrich's sexuality, much like her career, was fluid and unapologetically bold. She was ahead of her time, refusing to be labeled or constrained by societal norms, which only added to her mystique. In her later years, Dietrich became more reclusive. She spent the final years of her life living in Paris, rarely making public appearances. In 1992, the world lost one of its greatest stars when Marlene Dietrich passed away at the age of 90. Even in death, she remained an enigmatic figure. Her funeral in Paris was attended by dignitaries and celebrities from around the world, a testament to the indelible mark she left on both Hollywood and global culture. She was buried in Berlin, bringing her remarkable life full circle, from a rebellious girl in Prussia to a world-renowned star. At the time of her death, she had a net worth of $10 million, equivalent to approximately $20 million today when adjusted for inflation. 8 years after her death, a permanent exhibition featuring Marlene Dietrich's film costumes, recordings, written materials, photographs, and other personal items was established at the Berlin Film Museum in 2000. Marlene Dietrich wasn't just a Hollywood star. She was an icon of defiance, glamour, and independence. In an era when women were often limited to specific roles, she dared to live life on her own terms, both on and off the screen. Whether dressed in a tuxedo or singing on the battlefield, Dietrich broke boundaries, challenged conventions, and embodied a new kind of femininity that inspired generations to come. Her legacy continues to influence fashion, film, and popular culture. As a woman who refused to conform, Marlene Dietrich remains one of the most compelling figures in cinematic history, a true rebel who will never be forgotten. Well, that's a wrap for today. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video and found it engaging, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And if you want to stay updated with more captivating content, hit that red subscribe button and tap the notification bell so you never miss a video from us. Your support means everything.